Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. One of the things that I really love about soap operas, and just, watching TV and shows or whatever, but particularly soap operas, is when things that are not supposed to be funny, that are not intended on being funny, turns out to be hilarious. Okay, so let's talk about the whole Mardev or Dev Marv, or I'm trying to not say the full other name. We're gonna call him Mardev because I'm not actually saying the other thing. I'm just not doing it. Anyway, so Possessed Marlena whacks Julie over the head. Still hilarious. Even after so many days of not seeing it, it was still hilarious. So she whacks him over the head. Doug gets up. Doug starts to struggle with Marlena over their pan or whatever. Now after John was talking to Kayla, because then he was about to play the tape, and of course Kayla was like, "Oh, you can't play it because of the law and stuff." So she gets a signal, because when Doug saw that, the first thing he hit was the panic button. And he gets up and he starts struggling. And at this point, we already know what's going to happen. Okay? It was just a perfect scene of them walking in there, confirming that when they walked in there, Marlena practically was like, "Yep, Doug did it." And I grabbed the pan just in time because, this guy, he's, I don't know what's going on. He's definitely, out of his mind, pretty much. Oh my goodness. Doug is laying down. He's like, "I didn't do it. What are you talking about? She did it. She did it." This scene is not supposed to be funny. And maybe I'm a dick for laughing too much, but there's one point when John's like, "No, just easy, just calm down." And you're like, "No, what are you talking about? She did it." Now Marlena's like, "Why would I do that for?" Think about it. Why would I actually hit Julie in the head for it? That makes no sense. And so Marlena practically gets, literally only two of them in the room, to believe that, he needs to take a nap. He needs to go. He needs to go take a nap. And Julie's like, "No, don't do it. Don't do it." And, Doug is like, "No, my love," and this, that, and the third. And I'm not going to lie, I had a good laugh. I did. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. Well, I'm sorry for being a dick. It's just, that scene to me was hilarious. Okay. Granted, Doug plays it perfectly, because, he's literally like, "Yo, she tried to kill me, y'all practically believing this, whatever this thing is over me, But the way he was doing it was so dramatic that I just couldn't take it seriously, and so I just started laughing, and it was funny. So after that's over, Marlena's like, "Yo, listen, we gotta commit him. I want to send him to what I say that? Yeah." She was like, "Yo, I want to commit him to Bellevue, because he's you gotta go. And he's a danger to her and everyone else and himself. Nah, we can't have him just roaming the streets. Nah, you gotta go." Now, when Kayla was in there talking to Julie, Julie was like, "Yo, listen, he didn't do it." The whole time she's like, "He didn't do it. There has to be an explanation. He didn't do it." And she was like, "Yo, listen, the only person that was in here was Marlena. So you tell me." Now I gotta sit there and respect Julie as much as she gets on my nerves. Because she knows her husband better than anyone else in that room does. you know, and that is a true testament to like love and just being with someone for so many years that you know in your heart what they will and what they won't do. Like you are, I'll say 99% sure of what they will and what they won't do. So even though she got whacked in the head, she's like, yo, he didn't do it. Respect that. When John was there talking to Marlena, you know, they were sitting down and, you know, John was like, you know, it's funny because here's the thing. Marlena told John, which, to be honest, I was surprised that John didn't sit there and be like, hey, isn't that like, you're not allowed to tell me that stuff? You're not allowed to tell me what Doug was doing or what Doug was talking about during his session? Because literally, Marlena was like, yeah, Doug said he was going to kill Julie. Yeah, no, that's what he said. Yep, I was right there. That's what he said. And John's like, you know, it's funny because Doug said that you tried to kill him. Doug said that you were trying to kill him. At this point, EJ comes to pick up Nicole for their date, and Ava invites Rafe on, you know, a night out. Now, granted, both of them, both Rafe and Nicole, are still thinking about each other. Still doing it. I'm like, Rafe, listen, I'm not saying that this is an overnight process, but you gotta try a little bit more harder, B. And you practically told her, hey, listen, yeah, you told Ava that you had feelings for her, but you was like, they're squashed and they're gone. And now you're still sitting there thinking about her. What are you doing? And Nicole, oh, I'm going to sit there and give their space and their privacy. But yeah, you're still thinking about him. You still got the teddy bear that reminds you of him. So when EJ walks into the room, EJ's like, yeah, I mean, so you want to, you know, supposed to be doing this whole moving on thing and moving forward. And you still got, like, that thing, like, on the desk. You want to tell me what that's about? It kind of defeats the purpose of what we're doing. Then you go back and forth. And, you know, EJ throws the teddy bear in the garbage. I'm not going to lie. I honestly thought that Nicole was going to guess, like, what are you doing? But she was like, yeah, it's a good idea. So they walk out, and then Nicole's like, oh, wait, I forgot my cell phone. She goes back to pick up the teddy bear out the trash. I'm like, Nicole, you just... How long has this actress been Nicole for on this show? I'm genuinely curious. So, Rafe and Ava get there first. And, you know, they're hanging out, just having a good time. What do you know? Because here's the thing. Rafe and Nicole was originally supposed to go to Brady's home. But Rafe was like, yeah, I kind of had that this morning and this afternoon. Yeah, I'm not really trying to feel it to go there again. Let's go to Julie's. And of course, you know, they talk about, they briefly talk about working with Philip as far as Ava and some other opportunities. So they decide to go to Julie's. And what do you know? Oh, never mind. EJ and Nicole was there first because EJ kept like poking at Rafe. You know, they were talking about like, champagne and stuff like that and all these expensive things. And you know, Nicole was like, yeah, I mean, they're nice when you can afford it. And you know, of course, EJ, you know, being a dick, is like, well, it's a good thing you're with me instead of I'm sorry, how much does that peasant make? That's pretty much what he kept sitting there doing the whole time, just poking at Rafe. And of course Nicole got defensive, but she was all like, oh, well, isn't the point of us being together is to sit there and not talk about, you know, so-and-so? Because, you know, honestly to tell you the truth, she was mad and was going to get defensive, but she didn't want to sit there and show it. But of course, it didn't really matter because Rafe and Ava both showed up. They walk up to the table and they have just a really awkward conversation. I'm not gonna lie, I hope that they actually join us for dinner because it's gonna be so great. Um, AJ was like, so you came here for those burger and fries. There's nothing wrong with burger and fries, but AJ got to be a dick and just kind of show, hey, I have more money than you. I can buy expensive things because that's what he does. But I really do hope that they join them for dinner because that is going to be a show. I honestly, tell you the truth, I would sit there and rather watch that awkward and funny conversation with the four of them than anyone I saw today. Okay, maybe the whole whacking over the head, but the point is, I think they should have their own little. I would watch a half an hour of that. That's all I'm saying. So Abe tells Lonnie to sit there and stall because Abe has plans or whatever to sit there and surprise her. So Lonnie is like, hey, let's sit down, let's talk or whatever, and she makes some sort of BS like, hey, I'm planning a trip and I want to see. I want you to give me some sort of suggestions of where I should go. So she talks about Greece, she talks about some other places, Tuscany, I think, and then she mentions Paris. And of course, here's the thing, she mentions Paris, and, Lonnie's like, oh, well, I wouldn't know what it's like, about the whole trip or whatever. So Paulina's like, hey, I'm really sorry about that, I feel so bad, and, she's just going on and on about it. And Lonnie's like, hey, let it go, it was years ago. It was years ago, but the minute that she mentioned Paris, you're all like, oh, I wouldn't know what that's like. But you want to sit there and tell her just forget about it. Because you are clearly over the trip. Right, Lonnie? Anyway, he talks some more, and at first it looked like Paulina kind of dug herself in a hole. Because she was like, oh, well, that whole Paris trip, I'm really sorry. And, I'm going to be honest, I lied to you about that whole thing. Like, me and your mother lied. She was like, lied? You lied to me? What'd you lie to me about? Paulina, what the hell are you doing? You could have just apologized. She said she was going to move on. Now, we're doing this whole thing where it's like, oh, is she about to sit there and tell Lonnie that she's her real mother? Nope, we're not doing it today. I got you, didn't I? Yep, you got us for the third and fourth time of you faking us out like you were really going to sit there and tell. Isn't that just getting. Ugh. So, long story short, Paulina lies once again about the Paris trip. Oh, I was going to sit there and do it, but I was being really selfish and, I want to be all expensive and extravagant, and your mom was, more down to earth, and I told her about it, and she shut me down, and, in hindsight, it was a good idea because you turned out to be so great, and I'm just like, okay, so, we're still doing that. Meanwhile, Abe talks to Chanel, asks her for her blessing, and she gives it. They have a nice little moment, they hug, and Abe at this point is like, hey, listen, I made her favors, and one of the things was pecan pie. Said that she got the recipe from Olivia. And here's where it gets a little confusing. So Chanel was like, yeah, she doesn't like that. She hates pecan pie. You ought to make her some other pie. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's power for the core for Olivia because she has been getting on my nerves since the moment she arrived in that damn town. So, I'm not too surprised that she would sit there and set up Abe to fail because, why not at this point? I know the real reason why, but she's just she got on my damn nerves and she's still getting on my damn nerves apparently. So now they gotta sit there and scramble and make something else. Entirely something different. Apparently they can sit there and make a cake in 20 minutes. I'm going to be honest, I don't know how long it takes to make a cake. So if you do, please write it down below. Anyway, since time is not a factor, because, you know, it's a soap opera, they're able to make this whole different dish. Paulina comes home, and, you know, Abe is there, and he's like, oh, I made you this, I made you that, I made you all your favors, yada, yada, yada. And one of them was some sort of cake. And Paulina was like, what? And Abe was like, what's wrong? Isn't that your favorite? And Paulina was like, no, that's not my favorite. I don't like that pie at all. So now Abe turns around and looks at Chanel, and I'm like, Chanel? You want to tell me why you told Abe to make this pie for her? Because this was her favorite and not the pie that Big Mama made her? And you make it, and it turns out that that's not only her not favorite, that's a pie or whatever that she really doesn't like. So either the whole giving a blessing was like, you know, a ruse, just a lie, or you don't really know your mom's favorite pie. Or you forgot. I'm confused. I'm literally baffled, but I guess that was the point of leaving it on a cliffhanger like that. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I really missed anything. If I did, please write it down in the comment section below. But before I go, because I said this in my GH review, and I gotta sit there and say this in my Days review. And once again, I plan on saying this towards the end, because if I said it towards the beginning, I felt like that would have definitely affected my mood and the way I went about this review. DC Soap Sanctuary channel got deleted today. Just gone. I don't even like that they're doing that, because it reminds me of Thanos and the Snap, and I love that movie, but that's beside the point. They just deleted his whole channel. Just gone. They came up with some sort of BS reasons, not anything concrete. It was like, what did they say? Spam and some other stuff. I gotta sit there and replay the message, because here's the thing, I played that message like 5 times, and I was just like, wait, what? I know he said that it might have had something to do with, because he was comparing soap operas. He did a video comparing soap operas. And this was the American soap operas to, let's say, another type of soap operas. And he said that's what got that was most likely what got his channel deleted. But it was odd though, because the way the way it was like, he thought that it might have been a copyright. You know, when you show clips and stuff like that, he thought it was that. But it didn't sit there and say anything about, like, copyrights or anything like that. So, like, he was confused. And, of course, he, appealed it so that way they can do a manual review. And, of course, they just rejected it. And just took it down, just kept it down. I'm not going to lie, that really pisses me off, because it's like, the whole point of you appealing, your channel being terminated, is that way you can get somebody, an actual real person, to sit on their real ass and actually sit there and watch what this person is being, like, accused of as far as his channel being gone. And they were just like, nope, we're not going to do that. You got to reject that, and they just, like, that was it. And of course, he said it on his Twitter that it just left a bad taste in his mouth, and he was like, you know what, most likely I'm just not going to really come back, because, he likes putting, like, skits and clips and stuff like that in there, and it's one of those things where it's like, if he can't do it in a fun way, that's just fun, because that's how he likes doing it, then it's like, what's the point? And it sucks, because he worked his ass off doing it. There's a lot of time and a lot of effort, that went into each video. He started a couple of months and he was already up to like nearly 300 subscribers. And yet, just like that, it's gone. And it's one of those things where it's like, in a lot of ways, this is why I wish that Storyfire worked. Because if Storyfire worked, and it was, like, it didn't have all the flaws and bugs and everything else, and, like, if it worked like YouTube, then people could just be like, you know what, I can't deal with this, I'm going over to Storyfire, just can't do it. But it had a lot of bugs, and YouTube, I mean, granted, it wasn't as easy as it was for YouTube, and it's one of those things where it's like, YouTube is really popular, like, they have other little platforms or whatever, but it's not YouTube, and YouTube is popular, it's popular, and I'm going to sit there and say this analogy here that I said in my GH review. It's like, when OnlyFans started having problems, and people were just like, oh, you know, I'm just going to go to FanLens or whatever, FanLens or whatever, and then OnlyFans is like, hey, listen, we're sorry for, you know, that BS that Rusnet is saying. It's going to go back to normal. Majority of people actually went back to OnlyFans because, well, OnlyFans is more popular than FansLand. You know, it's just, that's just how it is, unfortunately. Which sucks because they can probably wind up doing it again, and once again, anyway, like I said, I was just really pissed off, and, you know, he's a cool dude, you know, we really became good friends, and it sucks for something like that to happen to him, you know, just in general, it sucks like that just happened to him, it really shouldn't happen. It happens to him, it can happen to anyone, you know. Also, the fact of the matter is, there is so much things on YouTube that's, like, literally bad, and they've kept it on. I'm going to go on a tangent for a little bit. There is a woman named Tessa Playmate. Tessa Playmate says something really terrible to someone who was supposedly sick. She's been saying terrible things throughout her YouTube entire career. And finally, after years of saying terrible things, she got her channel deleted. And you know what? After a couple months, they reinstated her channel. She said terrible things to people who were sick. She said racist things and all other things, all other sort of things. She got her channel back on. I've literally watched POR on YouTube. Literally, just straight up. And yes, the ASMR videos also count. But yet, a guy who does soap opera reviews, oh yeah, no, he's got to go. Yeah, he's doing like spam and spam comments or whatever, and all sorts of spam. He's doing a lot of bad stuff. No, he's got to go. So, yeah, it definitely pisses me off. I came home and I heard the message. I was like, bro, is he joking? And of course, I typed up the channel or whatever, and I'm like, it literally said it was going due to like multiple violations and stuff like that. I'm like, what are you talking about? This dude had like one strike, like maybe 3 months ago, and out of one video, whole thing is gone. Anyway, yeah, that's still put me in a bad mood. Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you all for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. See you in the next video.